One. Welcome everyone. This is Brother Doug with the Awakened by Yahuwah Assembly. We have a special guest, our brother D-Rail, with us today, and right next to me is my sister Shoshana. Below me is my brother Bobby and my sister Kristen, and at the bottom we have brother Dennis and sister Sally. And let me just fix their names for them real quick. I usually do that. Let me see here. Okay, hold on, I gotta pause just. Okay. All right, we're back, everyone. So we are going to be continuing the book of YaramYahu in English, that is Jeremiah chapter 9. And I will be leading off the study. I will be reading from the NLT. It'll be an easy translation for you viewers listening in and watching the study, so you know what places we're going to be talking about and stuff. Okay, so here we go. YaramYahu, Jeremiah chapter 9. Okay. If only my head were a pool of water and my eyes a fountain of tears, I would weep day and night for all my people who have been slaughtered. Oh, that I could go away and forget my people and live in a traveler's shack in the desert, for they are all adulterers, a pack of treacherous liars. My people bend their tongues like bows to shoot out lies. They refuse to stand up for the truth. They only go from bad to worse. They do not know me, says Yahuwah. Beware of your neighbor. Don't even trust your brother. For brother takes advantage of brother, a friend slanders friend. They all fool and defraud each other. No one tells the truth. With practiced tongues, they tell lies. They wear themselves out with all their transgressions. They pile lie upon lie and utterly refuse to acknowledge me, says Yahuwah. Therefore, this is what Yahuwah of heaven's armies says. See, I will melt them down in a crucible and test them like metal. What else can I do with my people? For their tongues shoot lies like poisoned arrows. They speak friendly words. Okay, they speak friendly words to their neighbors while scheming in their heart to kill them. Should I not punish them for this, says Yahuwah? Should I not avenge myself against such a nation? I will weep for the mountains and wail for the wilderness pastures, for they are desolate and empty of life. The lowing of cattle is heard no more. The birds and wild animals have all fled. I will make Jerusalem, into a heap of ruins, says Yahuwah. It will be a place haunted by jackals. The towns of Yehuda will be ghost towns with no one living in them. Who is wise enough to understand all this? Who has been instructed by Yahuwah and can explain it to others? Why has the land been so ruined that no one dares to travel through it? Yahuwah replies, this has happened because my people have abandoned my instructions. They have refused to obey what I said. Instead, they have stubbornly followed their own desires and worshiped the images of Baal, as their ancestors have taught them. So now this is what Yahuwah of heaven armies, the Elohim of Yashrael, says, look, I will feed them with bitterness and give them poison to drink. Interesting, kind of sounds like wormwood. And also, for the viewers that don't know who Baal was, that's just another name for Nimrod. He's known by many names: Zeus, Jupiter, Osiris, Apollo, Apollyon, Revelations 9:11. He's known by many different names. After the Tower of Babel, you had like 70 different nations on earth, so people were just like idolizing this guy by different names and different cultures. So just to give you a little history. I will scatter them around the world, verse 16, in places they and their ancestors never heard of. Even there I will chase them with the sword until I have destroyed them completely. This is what Yahuwah of heaven's army says. Consider all this and call for mourners. Send for women who mourn at funerals. Quick, begin your weeping. Let the tears flow from your eyes. Hear the people of Jerusalem, crying in despair. We are ruined. We are completely humiliated. We must leave our land because our homes have been torn down. Listen, you women, to the words of Yahuwah. Open your ears to what he has to say. Teach your daughters to wail. Teach one another how to lament. For death has crept in through our windows and has entered our mansions. It has killed off the flower of your youth. Children no longer play in the streets, and young men no longer gather in the squares. This is what Yahuwah says. Bodies will be scattered across the fields like clumps of manure, like bundles of grain after the harvest. No one will be left to bury them. Interesting. This is what Yahuwah says. Don't let the wise boast in their wisdom, or the powerful boast in their power, or the rich boast in their riches. But those who wish to boast should boast in this alone, that they truly know me and understand that I am Yahuwah. Now that sounds like Paul, where he says, do not boast in yourselves, but boast in Yahuwah. So it seems like Paul was quoting from Jeremiah 9. So that was Jeremiah 9, verse 24. And let's see, so who demonstrates unfailing love and who brings justice and righteousness to the earth, and that I delight in these things, I, Yahuwah, have spoken. A time is coming, says Yahuwah, when I will punish all those who are circumcised in body. This is another topic Paul goes into depth in the Brit Hadashah, but are not in spirit. The Egyptians, the Edomites, Ammonites, Moabites, the people who live in the desert in remote places, and yes, even the people of Yehuda, and like all these pagan nations, the people of Yashrael also have uncircumcised hearts. Woof, that's tough. All right, so right here we see the circumcision debate that Paul had with the Pharisees of the circumcision party. And Yahuwah himself is saying this, that really it doesn't matter if you don't have an uncircumcised heart. You can be circumcised physically, and he's still going to consider you
uncircumcised.
So what Paul says in the New Testament is not new. Just want to have
pretty much talking about right here, circumcised in the heart.
Yeah, he's saying that you who are circumcised physically but are not circumcised spiritually are still I still look at you as pagans.
Where in Paul, in the Brit Hadashah, where does it say that?
He says, circumcision is of the heart.
I know he said it, but I want to find where.
Yeah, I'm about to find that for the viewers right now. Yeah. Also, there was a part in this chapter that reminded me, talking about a place for jackals. Jerusalem will become a place that's haunted by jackals. It sounds a lot like Isaiah chapter 13. And it's pretty interesting what Isaiah 13 says. But let's look up that verse that Paul talks about to try to connect the Brit Hadashah here. So, circumcision is of the heart.
In Galatians?
Yeah, Romans chapter 2, verse 25 to 29. So let me put that on my eSword real quick so the viewers can see this. So 2:25 to 29 of Romans chapter 2. I believe I unmuted everyone. So everyone should be unmuted right now, I believe. Okay, so
John,
yeah.
When you mentioned a while back about Baal being a name for Nimrod,
yes,
I had said give them the actual translation of that word.
Oh, okay, my bad about that. I had everyone muted because there was like a lot of background noise when I started reading, so my bad about that. I didn't realize you were trying to say something. So basically Baal in Hebrew actually would be translated right into the English as Lord. So when you say Lord God, you know, wherever you see in the English Lord our God, you're literally esteeming Nimrod by calling Yahuwah the Lord. you're literally giving worship to Nimrod, because Nimrod was known as Baal, aka Lord. And Lord actually historically was a generic title to many pagan deities, not just Nimrod. So also God, G-A-W-D, the way it's pronounced, it's spelled G-O-D in English. So where you see, you know, God being used like Genesis 1:1, G-O-D created the heavens and the earth. That's actually the original angelic name of Satan. Just viewers out there that might not know that, you can look that up in 1 Enoch chapter 69, I believe. And Brother Derail could correct me if I'm wrong. But that it will actually say that, literally, that in chapter 69 of Enoch, that God Ra'el was the one that led astray Eve. So if you take the prefix of that name, that's where you get G-O-D from. And so really, by calling Yahuwah the Lord our God, you're esteeming Satan and his Messiah at the same time. So that's why it's important to not inadvertently give worship to the devil. So that's the reason we brought that up. So so basically, Yahuwah is his name. The only time it's used Elohim in the scriptures is for a title, not a name. So, I'll stand on this point. I don't believe Elohim's a name either. I don't believe he should be called Elohim as a name. Where you see in Genesis in almost every translation, in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and earth. I extremely disagree. That's just my personal conviction. I believe it should be in the beginning, Yah at the least. Least have Y-A-H. In the beginning, Yah created the heavens and the earth. There's no way that, you know, Elohim is a name. So there's many times in the book of Psalms, they, by tradition, put Elohim in for Yahuwah's name. Like it's a substitution, just like Lord. So
the only thing good about the title of Elohim is the fact that it shows a duality. So we know there was at least two of them.
Yeah.
I can quote Enoch 69:6 for the whole reference of God.
Yeah, go ahead.
The third, Enoch 69:6, the third was named Gadarel. This one is he who showed the children of the people all the blows of death, who misled Eve, who showed the children of the people how to make the instruments of death, such as the shield, the breastplate, and the sword for warfare, and all the other instruments of death to the children of the people. There you go.
So I guess that's where we get the God of War from. I guess that's where you get the God of War. What's his name in Greek mythology? There's like an actual God of War, or there's a female God of War, Artemis. So, and sometimes Satan's portrayed as a woman, which is very weird.
I like the part where it says the one who misled Eve. And we all read who misled Eve.
Yeah, if you compare Enoch with Genesis, it makes it clear who Enoch's talking about.
Good.
The Hallelujah Scriptures version of Enoch actually says he who led astray Eve. So it even makes like more clear that it's talking about the serpent in the garden, which is not really a serpent, but we don't have time to go into that. That serpent's obviously a mistranslation of Nakash, and that he wasn't a literal snake. Anyway, but I also wanted to go into Isaiah 13 because it's really interesting. Isaiah 13 gives a pretty similar idea of the destruction that Yahuwah's reference to, talking about it's going to be a place for jackals. Isaiah 13 is also talking about the destruction of Babylon in this place, and it talks about, in the Septuagint, is very interesting, and I wanted to bring this up because it says the vision that Isaiah, son of Amos, so Amos the prophet is his dad, saw against Babylon. Lift up a standard on the mountain of the plain, exalt the voice to them, beckon with the hand, open the gates, you rulers, I give command. So this is the Father speaking, this is saying, I give command, and I bring them. Giants are coming to fulfill my wrath, rejoicing at the same time and insulting. The voice of many nations on the mountains, even like that of many nations, a voice of kings and nations gathered together. Yahuwah of heaven's armies has given command to a warlike nation to come from a land afar off, from the utmost foundation of heaven. Yahuwah and his warriors are coming to destroy all the world. Howl ye, for the day of Yahuwah is near, and destruction from Yahuwah shall arrive. Therefore every hand shall become powerless, and every soul or spirit of man shall be dismayed. The elders shall be troubled, and pain shall seize them as a woman in travail or labor. And they shall mourn one as to another, and shall be amazed, and shall change their countenance as a flame. For behold, the day of Yahuwah is coming, which cannot be escaped, a day of wrath and anger, to make the world desolate, and to destroy transgressors out of it. For the stars of heaven and Orion, talking about the constellations, and the host of heaven shall not give their light. And it shall be dark at sunrise, and the moon shall not give her light. And I will command evils for the whole world, and visit their sins on the unrighteous. And I will destroy the pride of transgressors, and will bring low the pride of the haughty. And they that are left shall be more precious than gold tried in the fire. A man shall be no more precious than the stone that is in sulfur. For heaven shall be enraged, and the earth shall be shaken from her foundation, because of the fierce anger of Yahuwah, heaven's armies. In the day of his wrath shall come. And they that are left shall be as fleeing fawn, or as a stray sheep. And there shall be none to gather them, so that a man shall turn back to his people, a man shall flee to his own land. For whosoever shall be taken shall be overcome, and they that are gathered together shall fall by the sword. And they shall dash their children before their eyes, and they shall spoil their houses, and shall take their wives. Behold, I will stir up against you the Medes, who do not regard silver, neither they need gold. They shall break bows of young men, and they shall all have no mercy on your children, nor shall their eyes spare your children. And Babylon, which is called esteemed by the king of the Chaldeans, shall be as when Yahuwah overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, and never any enter into it for many generations. Neither shall the Arabians pass through it, nor shall shepherds at all rest in it. But the wild beasts shall rest there, and the houses shall be filled with howling, and monsters shall rest there, and devils shall dance there. And the satyrs shall dwell there, and the hedgehogs shall make their nests in their houses, and it will come soon and will not tarry. So I brought that up because there's a lot of different terminology in that version of the Isaiah 13 that kind of connects to Jeremiah 9 with, like, it's going to be a wasteland, Jerusalem, and possibly there's a connection between Jerusalem and Babylon being talked about by Yahuwah, because he's talking about that jackals will dwell there. So like a combination of different animals that are just laid in a laid waste city. It's interesting it says satyrs in the Septuagint for Isaiah 13. So you have kind of like these creatures that you only hear about from Greek mythology in Isaiah 13. In the Septuagint, they're going to be dwelling there in the destruction of Babylon. So
and giants are going to come back.
Yeah, the giants are coming back. So, and it actually says Yahuwah is doing this. Satan's not doing it.
Yeah.
Yahuwah is the one bringing them back from the pit. So, you know, when you see in Revelations, it talks about the locust army and all that. I believe giants are coming with them.
Yep.
He's going to open Tartarus, as spoken of in Enoch. Also.
Antarctica.
Yeah. So, but it's also interesting, too, you have devils will dance there, whatever that means. Like, I don't know, the Nephilim spirits are going to dance there. I don't know. Like, it's extremely weird. It's definitely going to be I think Revelations talks about it's a haunt for every hateful bird, that when Babylon's destroyed, every hateful and unclean bird will be there. So it's very interesting. But I don't know, what brought that up to me was in Jeremiah chapter 9, what we just read, that jackals are going to dwell in an inhabited city of Jerusalem. So it kind of connected Jerusalem to Babylon to me. But yeah. But either way, it's both talking about destructions. I don't know if this is the same time period, because I think Isaiah is a little bit before Jeremiah, but it seems like there might be some connection here between these two destructions. Now, Isaiah 13 is the day of Yahuwah. That's when you see Yahusha in the clouds. That's literally, that day is when all this destruction's coming. So a lot of people kind of miss that. They kind of miss the fact that the sinners are going to be destroyed. It's not going to be a pleasant day for unbelievers. Not at all. And so people look at it like, oh, the second coming of Yahusha, it's all nice and peace. You know, he's coming back with a sword.
He says, I come back, I'm bringing a sword too.
You know, I think in Revelations it says there's a sword in his mouth that he destroys Satan with. So there's an actual, like, I forget how it's worded. He has a double-edged sword in his mouth. So, you know, and talks about destroying the anti-Messiah. He's actually coming back to kill Satan, kill the anti-Messiah and the false prophet. So he's actually coming back for war. He even says, I have brought sword. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. And
he's not killing Satan yet. Satan's going in the abyss.
Well, yeah, Satan. Well, first Satan go in the abyss, and then Satan gets killed. But Satan's getting in the abyss first, then he's loosed after the 1,000-year reign. But yes. So when Yahusha comes back, his main goal is getting the false prophet and the beast, the anti-Messiah, in the lake of fire first. That's his goal. That's what he's coming back for. And also to destroy the sinners that are not repentant. Even in the book of Enoch, he talks about the day of Yahuwah as a day of destruction for the people that don't repent. I think the book of Enoch even says that those that don't repent will not be saved. Like he talks about, they keep sinning and sinning and sinning, they're going to get destroyed. So, but yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
So we're going to have to come back in for a second part of the study. Please stand by, all of our viewers out there and all of our brothers and sisters watching this study. This is Brother Doug with my brother D-Rail, my brother Bobby, our sister Kristen, our sister Sally, our brother Dennis, and our sister Shoshana. We will be back in the part 2 shortly. So stay tuned. Shalom.